Hello, my name is Russell Myers. Welcome to Issues Unite. So, while addressing the UN General Assembly, Joe Biden said, "For the first time in 20 years, the U.S. is not at war." Really? How about telling that to the people still being bombed in Afghanistan? Or maybe the people in Somalia, Yemen, Iraq, and Syria? The victims of the ongoing genocide in Palestine? How about telling that to the people suffering under the weight of U.S. sanctions, depriving them of food, resources, medications, and medical supplies in numerous countries, including but not limited to Iran, North Korea, and Venezuela? If you look up what the UN Human Rights and Peace Councils have to say, their stance is that economic sanctions are indeed acts of war. Sanctions result in starvation, illness, deprivation, poverty, and death. There is absolutely nothing peaceful about economic sanctions. As a matter of fact, if we're not at war, then why do we spend more money on defense than every other nation on earth combined? Why does our defense budget, have to be increased every single year? Why does our intelligence budget have to be increased every single year? Why are we forcing asylum seekers back to countries where their lives are endangered, which is what they were fleeing in the first place? After all, our defense budget should include all intelligence agencies, border security, and VA funding, not just the Pentagon. Biden went on to refer to the U.S. acting in defense of human rights, while our own government does not even defend human rights in our own country. Right here in the U.S., millions currently face hunger, poverty, lack of adequate medical care, and homelessness, be that either actual or potential near future homelessness. Americans face violent crime at levels few, if any, other countries experience. Meanwhile, study after study has shown clearly that the most effective way to reduce violent crime is by addressing the root causes of crime, which are consistently based in poverty. In other words, human rights issues. Americans face a higher level of white-collar crime than any other country by far. Part of that white-collar crime is political corruption in the form of lobbying and political campaign donations in return for special favors toward those capitalist donors. In many countries, such donations and lobbying would be criminal offenses, resulting in criminal convictions for corruption. Russia and China are known to send corrupt government and business officials to prison for corruption, while in the U.S., it is unlikely you will find a single case of anyone being convicted of corruption in the history of this nation. It is not even a concept here. Yet white-collar criminals have crashed our economy numerous times, raided pension funds, stolen the life savings of millions of Americans, while not spending a single day in a jail cell. So when Biden makes references to defending human rights, he is clearly only referring to a select few at the top of the economic food chain who have no need of defense. Biden then went on to say how the U.S. will be providing $100 billion in climate change assistance to other countries. Money coming largely from corporate entities. You know, because those corporations don't mandate anything in return for their assistance, because those same corporations are not responsible for 99% of climate change, and because those corporations can be trusted so well. Then Biden stated that the U.S. is not pursuing another Cold War, even as the U.S. just signed a deal to sell nuclear submarines and nuclear weapons to Australia in a move which is clearly provocative toward China. Even as the U.S. uses language meant to incite anger and division from China and Russia and other countries. Even as the U.S. continues developing and building new nuclear weapons, while nearly every other nation on the planet has signed a treaty agreeing on the need to reduce or eliminate nuclear weapons. China signed the agreement, Russia signed the agreement, North Korea signed the agreement, Iran signed the agreement. The U.S. and Israel did not sign the agreement. This very week, the UN has been revisiting the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, reiterating the need for global denuclearization, with the U.S. and Israel opposing hundreds of nations. In Biden's speech, he referred to opposing countries that dominate weaker ones using changing of territory by force, economic coercion, technical exploitation, or disinformation. All things which the U.S. government is well known for using across the planet, and this administration has elevated to entirely never before seen heights. I would love to say his speech was hilarious in the irony, but knowing what is truly behind his words make it terrifying instead. Privatization, corporatization, expanded warfare, worsening poverty, and destruction of the environment beyond any recovery are what lie behind those words. We all know of the atrocities that our government is capable of. Even the most informed among us have only small clues regarding what our government is guilty of, past and present. It is only by our own awareness, vigilance, and direct opposition whereby we can prevent the far worse crimes against humanity, which are clearly being planned by our government right this minute. Unfortunately, that effort is far too much for the vast majority of Americans. Many of the planned crimes against humanity will occur. The only hope is going to be for our allies to abandon us, our adversaries to crush our military to dust, what is left of our economy to crumble, and for Americans to suffer the fates which our nation has imposed upon others for generations. Until then, most Americans will keep eagerly watching warmongering media, building walls, cheering for censorship, keeping children in cages, pointing fingers, laying claim to American exceptionalism, all while consuming mindless entertainment, drinking beer, sucking down fast food, overdosing on opiates, stockpiling guns, going to church, donating to political cults, and worshiping celebrities. The vast majority of Americans have no emotional or intellectual capacity for anything of more substance. If you ever wonder how the U.S. got to the sad state that it is in now, just wait. You ain't seen nothing yet. Share this video. Talk about these subjects. If you can, please donate $1 a month to help expand the channel, and I will catch you in the next one.